Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, how to get more out of reading in 3 easy steps.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
School's back from summer.
That's an interesting twist on the song.
I know that's not quite how it goes, right? We probably wouldn't have the same enthusiasm for going back to school, which is what we're about doing here pretty soon, right?
Well, we do.
Yes, that's
especially
right.
With the professor. He's ready and rearing and ready to go. Look, he's singing.
Yeah, there you go. I'm happy about it, right? So it is back to school season, and summer's just about over.
Yeah.
And for the kids, it's time to crack the books again, but hey, they shouldn't have all the fun.
No, they shouldn't. So we're going to focus on lifelong learning in this podcast episode and the 9 that follow. So lifelong learning, we're going to kick it off with 3 shows on the basics: reading, writing, and arithmetic that we learned in school.
But we're going to put an adult spin on things. Now, not too adult, but an adult spin on things. Today, we're going to talk about reading.
And speaking of reading, today's podcast episode is made possible by Kindle Unlimited, where you get unlimited reading, unlimited listening, unlimited learning.
Yes.
On any device.
It sounds very unlimited, right?
It really is. Learn more at bigsuccess.com/Kindle.
Hey, I'm George Kruger, a.k.a. The Professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn. Do you suppose that we read more every day than we ever have read before?
Well, it sure seems like it, doesn't it? I mean, I feel like I read way more than ever before. But the thing is,
thanks to technology,
there are studies that show both.
That we're reading more and that we're not reading more.
Yeah, for example, there's one study that showed that we're reading 20 minutes a day on average. The average adult reads 20 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. Now, I found that astounding.
Right.
But when I dug deeper, it seemed like there was a huge oversight because it looks like they're really only counting like actually reading a newspaper or a magazine or something like that.
Okay.
Not the way that most of us consume media today, which another study showed that of 25 to 34-year-olds, they read about almost 3 hours every day.
That to me makes more sense.
And that seems more fitting. You know, I saw once that kind of to me helped put this in perspective. The average person reads a newspaper a day these days. And I feel like that's probably closer to the truth.
I think so too.
So we're definitely doing a lot of reading.
The question is, how much of that reading are we comprehending?
Exactly. So we may be reading more, but maybe we're comprehending less.
Let's pull out the professor's whiteboard for how to get more out of reading in 3 easy steps. George, can you read my face right now? Can you read what it's saying? It's saying, clean out that closet.
Yes, Mary-Lynn.
I don't know what it takes. Okay. So here we are. How to get more out of reading in 3 easy steps. Step number 1, focus on comprehension, not reading. And we came across a quote that has something to say about this point. It comes from the book Learning to be a Sage. And the author, Shu Si, says this: in reading, the greatest failing is to strive for quantity. Don't value quantity, value only your familiarity with what you've read.
We see so much information every day. However, information isn't necessarily useful. In fact, sometimes it can be useless. It can get in the way. Knowledge is what we really seek, right? So physically reading something isn't that special. Mentally comprehending it, that's what we strive for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can say that you read 20 books this summer.
Yeah.
But how much of it do you remember? How
Precisely.
much of it, what are you doing with that information?
And if you're like me, you're guilty of, someone tells you about a book. Oh, that sounds great. I go buy the book and then I put it on the bookshelf and then it sits there and it sits there and it sits there. So,
and then you put it in that closet that you never clean out.
Yeah, exactly. Half of it's books, Mary-Lynn. So I think the thing is we would challenge you to maybe instead of thinking about a book a week or something like that, that's fine too. Mm-hmm. But maybe once in a while, mix it up. Try just say, I'm going to read one book, and I'm going to take what that book says, and I'm going to apply every bit of it. Or the parts that are important to me, I'm going to apply it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to work at that book. And then when I get done with that, I'll go to another book. Mm-hmm. But I'm not necessarily putting a time frame on it. I may put an activity goal on it, which is I'm going to read one chapter every week or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to spend the next week applying what I learned in that chapter. And then I'll read another chapter. You can set goals with it. But the point is focus on right from the get-go, reading for comprehension, not just to say, I read so many books.
How to get more out of reading in 3 easy steps. Step number 2, create new worlds in your life. You don't have to just read only for comprehension. You may also read for entertainment. And if you do, you get a big pat on the back for that.
Yeah, and the reason we say that is because, I used to only read nonfiction. And I still find myself, as much as I've learned about fiction, I find myself still drifting towards the nonfiction route, which is fine because, when you're in business and stuff, you've got to learn things all the time.
That's lifelong learning.
But I used to think fiction was a waste of time. And then I took a short fiction course with one of the best, easily in the top 5 professors that I'd ever had. And he opened my mind to a whole new world, this world of fiction. He taught me that reading great works also expands your creativity because the cool thing about books, the great books, is that you're kind of putting the word pictures. It's like a movie, but you're writing the movie, or you're directing the movie.
Well, because creativity, it's an incredibly essential skill for those of us who have that entrepreneur mindset. You have to be able to think creatively.
You better bet.
Black and white answers aren't always going to help you get out of a problem or help you expand your dreams and your vision. So it stems from a part of creativity, imagination. And when you read fiction, you really get in touch with that side of your brain, and because you have to paint pictures that the author is creating in your mind. Like you said, you've got to make that movie up.
Yeah, and one of my favorite authors is Dashiell Hammett, and man, I just love the way that he describes his characters.
Dashiell Hammett was one of my mom's favorite authors as well, and so when I found out that you were a Dashiell Hammett fan,
yes,
that really endeared me more to you. So,
well, very good. I really like Dashiell Hammett all the much more. Right. But just to give you an example, we love The Thin Man, and we have, read the books, but also watched the TV series or the movie series.
Right.
And they're just a hoot.
Yeah. It's a couple, Nick and Nora Charles, and they're crime fighters.
And their dog.
Right. Well, detectives, right?
Yes.
And their dog, Asta.
Yes, Asta. And he's always got a drink in his hand.
Asta does?
No, Nick.
Oh, yeah. It's Nick
but
Charles.
it's just fun. The characters are just so great. And then there's another character, actually, to help you understand why fiction can be so helpful is, I'll give you an example. It actually helped me write my thesis.
Okay.
And there's a line in, I think the title of the book is The Continental Op. And Dashiell Hammett's, the main character is a detective, as is prone to be the case with the Dashiell Hammett book. But he's in the boss's office, and the boss is looking out the window, and it's just pouring down rain. That's how we would describe it. It's pouring down rain. And the boss says, it appears to be raining, or it seems to be raining outside. And the point is, this guy would not go one step over the absolute facts. And Dashiell Hammett pointed out, he couldn't guarantee that there wasn't someone up above throwing buckets of water over the roof. So he said, it appears to be raining, or it seems to be raining. Well, when I was in my thesis, when I wrote my thesis, one of the things my thesis advisor told me with my first draft is, it says, you're asserting that you know things that you don't know. Now, he's not the only person to ever tell me that. But the point is, I learned from that you have to be very careful. Here's what I absolutely know, and these are the things that I don't know. I learned that from reading fiction.
Wow, that's incredible. I'll tell you, if I look outside and it's raining, I'm going to say...
You think it's raining.
Yes.
But the key point here is, don't limit yourself to just reading nonfiction in your field. Don't limit yourself to just nonfiction in general. Read some fiction. Expand your mind. Force yourself to visualize new worlds in your mind. It will help you create new worlds in your life.
We're talking about how to get more out of reading in 3 easy steps, and we're already to the 3rd easy step, and that's to put terms in context.
Big success is life on your own terms. Now, we talk about terms with big success, and it's important to understand that, terms is a synonym for words. And so when we're thinking about terms, we're also thinking about words, and that's significant to our conversation here about reading.
Because people who read generally have larger vocabularies.
Precisely.
And this is important too. They see the same term used in different contexts. So They come to fully understand the richness of those terms.
Yeah, and by understanding that richness, they're able to call upon terms to empower themselves. They're able to pull out a term which has a number of layers of meaning to describe who they want to become and what they want to do with their life.
Life on their own terms.
Precisely.
Life on your own terms. So let's review the 3 easy steps to get more out of reading. 1 is focus on comprehension, not just reading. 2 is to create new worlds in your life. Expand your mind with creativity and don't just read nonfiction. And 3, put terms in context. Terms are rich. Words are rich. Make sure you know the words in full context.
Most people don't read these days. We scan.
Yeah.
I had to talk about this before we shut down the show, that we have to admit that we scan. And there is a place for that. In fact, there's probably good reasons to do it. There's good reasons why we all do it. Mm-hmm. But for your most important reading, for life-changing reading, focus on absorbing the material so that it becomes part of you. It leads to big success.
Reading can change your life. So can finding your purpose. Take our free life purpose quiz at Big Success, that's big with 2 G's, success.com.
And we thank you for listening today. Special big shout out to all our listeners in Naperville, Illinois.
Next time, we're going to continue our series of reading, writing, and arithmetic that we learned in school. We just did reading, so next time, writing. We'll share 4 ways that writing helps you succeed. Until then,
here's to your big success.
Find big success at biggsuccess.com.